We now know the most important thing to guaranteeing happiness in any human on the planet is to know who you are, know yourself with depth and clarity, and then live your life in alignment with that, who you truly are. This video is about taking that happiness and putting it on steroids. How do we do that? Through this concept of your personal highest values. So, what are your values? What is this concept? The easiest way to say it, that is, if we talk about hard times as being dark, then the simplest way to understand your values is being the light switches for your mind. They're also what I call your triggers for happiness, your personal triggers for you, yourself, and no one else. So, how do they work? Well, your mind, your subconscious mind, has observed and does observe everything that's happened to you in your life, every event from the moment you're born right through to this moment right now and the last word that I've said. And your mind summarizes all of that stuff and comes up with a list of things that are of most importance to it. Hence the name highest value, most valuable. When things are really valuable to us and we get to experience them, the resulting feeling is amazing. It feels great. But when we really value something and it's taken from us or we don't get to experience it, we can feel all that stuff we don't want to feel: sad, despondent, depressed, etc., etc. So, age 35, I do a process to uncover what my own personal light switches for my mind, my personal triggers for happiness, my highest values. And at age 35, it turns out that freedom, health, growth, peace, integrity, and achievement are the light switches for my mind. So if I could have had a conversation with my mind, if I could have pulled it out of my head, held it in my hand, and had a conversation with it at this time, it would have said to me, Ben, you give me more freedom, health, growth, peace, integrity, and achievement, and I will reward you with all the feel good chemistry you can handle and then a bit extra. But if you continue to deny these things from me, which I was doing without knowing, then I will continue to make your life a misery and you will feel despondent and sad and depressed and all the things we don't want to feel. So I thought to myself, this is pretty handy information once I knew this stuff. I thought if I used this and I looked back at all the things I'd done in the 15 years of my adult life leading up to this, I could start to understand why some things that were meant to make me happy made me miserable, and why some things, some random things, were really exciting and the best experiences that I've had. So I came up with a color chart down the bottom there. Red is bad. When I compare my values to the activity, if red shows up, I should run as fast and as far away from that as I can, because that's a recipe for misery. If blue shows up, that's awesome. I should do as much of that as I can and do it as often as I can, and that will guarantee my happiness, bring my happiness up on steroids. So I compared the two. And this is what life came back as over the 15 years that I'd been living it. All the bottom end of the scale, lots of red, lots of orange, lots of yellow, lots of white. So a kind of a miserable kite type existence with some dark blue here and there. Not going to lie, there was moments in there where, wow, I thought that was amazing. But the thing was, I had no idea how I'd produced it and no idea how to reproduce it when I wanted to. So I call this part of my life a confusing, miserable mystery. Yeah. But then I thought, well, if these are my values, if these are my triggers for happiness and light switches for my mind, if I use these to make choices about the things that I should do in the future, there should only be one way that life can go. That's what I did. I used my values to make some choices, and then I went and did them. And that's what life came back as. All the bottom end of the scale completely disappeared. All the misery, all the challenge. The worst it got was white. I can live with that. Lots and lots of dark blue. So my life aligning really well with who I am. Happiness on steroids. So the beauty of this is not only was I feeling great, which is awesome, but I knew exactly how I had produced that happiness, and I knew exactly how to reproduce it every second of every day that I was alive. So life was no longer a mystery to me. And what I enjoyed doing here, before, after, before, after, lots and lots of work with not much reward, a lot less work with even more reward. Yeah, so if you want to really put your happiness on steroids, you really need to get to know yourself. Your values are a very strong and powerful way of doing that. To explain this a bit further, here's the chronological order of the things that I did in my life from the time I left school right up to this moment. And you can just see two clear, totally distinct experiences of life. Same person, less effort on the right, more effort on the left. And then this one is really powerful, that on the left is pre-values and on the right is post-values. And what happens, why this is powerful, you would have heard people say to fill your cup first. Well, on the left, you can see my cup was not full internally. And what happens when that happens, humans are very smart and very clever, and they get the high one way or another. When our cup is empty, we get it by going externally. And what that means is, firstly, we start with, behaviors, different behaviors. Then it will go into comfort eating, and then it might go into fizzy drinks, and then it might go into alcohol, and then it might go into drugs, then it might go into alcohol, drugs, comfort eating. The emptier we are, the slipperier the slope. But on the right-hand side, when we fill our cup internally, not only do we feel amazing, that's the first step, the first goal, but then that overflows, our cup overflows, and that's when we are able to give back and contribute to others in really powerful ways, which, is the best feeling. We're hardwired for that to be the best feeling that we can experience. So there you have it. If you want to put your happiness on steroids, you have to get to know yourself deeper and clearer and live your life in alignment with it. Your values are the most powerful way of doing that. If you would like to know what your values are or know more about this, in the comments below, I have a link to my Facebook group where I talk about this stuff regularly and consistently. Click the link, join the Facebook group, and I will see you on the inside.